Coach, is there a position battle you're eager to see both on Thursday and Saturday?
All of them. No, I mean, we're excited to see the guys all go out there and compete. You know, there's some really pretty contested battles, so we'll find out a lot more after this week. So we're excited.
Is there a group that maybe is a little bit more competitive because there are so many good guys in it? It's so deep.
Yeah, I feel like we got, we got good depth really at every position. So, the linebacker room, there's been some moving parts. We've had some guys out with injuries, so new guys coming in. I think Tim's done a very good job getting those guys ready. That's obviously a room where guys are going to be competing. The DBs, I think some of the young guys are really starting to come on and learn it a little bit better. So we're seeing a little bit more production out of those young guys as well.
Liam noted yesterday, just with some of the attrition, how thin some of the groups are getting.
Sure.
How do you balance that, knowing you want to get the ones and twos good work on Thursday, you also want to keep them healthy, but also you want to see from those young guys something Saturday, but you also want to keep them healthy too.
Yeah, I mean, part of this time of year is you got to develop a callus, and guys are going to get banged up. It's what happens. Obviously, nobody wants that to be the case, but when you go out there, you really need to see some good-on-good action, and playing the Saints, I think, will be a great opportunity for us to do that. We expect the guys to be going full throttle when we go in practice, and give us their best effort when they get out there in the game.
Hey, Camp, Matt Dickerson ended last year with a big role. Has he sort of picked up where he left off last year?
He has. Matt has done a really, really good job. I think even in the offseason, in his downtime, he was out working with some guys, just getting better. He's come in. He's really just physically strong at the point of attack. So that showed up, and he's a tough guy. He's really what you love about our defense in terms of he's always doing his job. It's important to him. He's a great teammate. So I love coaching the guy.
Is thud hitting in a joint practice different than thud hinting in a team practice? I think you're always coaching for it to be the same thing. How you enter, if you're entering near foot, if you're entering with great pad level. Some of those things that sound like they're cliche, things we've heard since we were little kids playing Pee Wee football, like low man wins. That's all real. So in the individual, that's where you got to be training. And I think that when you get out there against somebody else, anytime you're competing with even our offense, and we get an opportunity to go compete in a joint practice right now, you're testing that. So hopefully it's all the same thing. We're running violently through contact. The fight starts on contact. So hopefully we have great leg drive throughout this next week.
Are joint practices something that you've always gotten value out of throughout your career? You get, does it help you in the evaluation process of your officer?
Yeah, I think the guys get excited about it. Anytime you're playing against somebody else, so that's what's exciting about it. And then, just to see how everybody fares when the lights go on. That's what's fun about it for me.
What's your evaluation
control things a little bit better in the joint practice as far as getting certain guys reps in certain situations? Is it better than a game in that regard?
In a game, yeah, maybe a preseason game, but in practice, I think we're always trying to do that, even against ourselves. You're scripting who's in when, what you want to see, and you're usually in communication with these joint practices with the opposing team, just what the situations are going to be, so you can be prepared for that and see how those guys show up in those situations.
What's your evaluation of Travis so far through this camp, what he's done?
Done a really good job. I think he's taken a big jump. I think he's spent a lot of good time with Matt, even off the field, learning the system. Just a little bit more fluid for him, easier for him to communicate. I think he knows it a little bit better. Obviously, we talked about his body physically. He's a different guy right now physically, which is great. But I think he's done a great job balancing both, which in camp it's a lot. They're long days and you're on both sides. And he's done a really good job compartmentalizing when he's with us. The communication's been good, and I'm sure the same thing, EB would tell you the same thing on offense.
How do you rank his ball skills?
He has elite ball skills. The thing about Trav is, obviously, you can see even in some of these practices, he can go up and tear the ball out of the air. So that's advantageous for us, obviously, defensively. And he's aggressive. He goes after the ball like a receiver. So that's what's exciting about him, And you saw a little bit of that in practice the other day. I thought he made a heck of a play, honestly, coming out of nowhere and tearing the ball out of the sky.
It's a lot of young corners. They get a little overly aggressive and all that other stuff. Have you seen any of that out of him? And maybe
in terms of his
and getting out of position or maybe doing something he's not supposed to do.
I really haven't. I think Matt Arujo's done a great job with him, really with all those guys. But one of the things they're doing
very well collectively as a unit is they're playing with really good technique. You know, their eye discipline's been really good, and that's an everyday thing. You know, you got to work on it every day. And Travis has been pretty vigilant with that as well, and I think he's done a good job, and it's helped him.
Expectations for Travis in terms of, assuming he's probably not going to play on Saturday, but expectations of how you manage him in the joint practice setting, knowing his elevated role on defense this year?
Yeah, I think that a couple things can come into play there just in terms of how many reps we're getting, but he'll be out there, you know, just like you will in the game, and we'll get him a bunch of work, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to get better. So excited to see him out there.
So the matchup with him, Olave, Tyson, is that one that perhaps you guys talk about with going into a joint practice? Do you talk about the marquee names that you could be going up against?
No, I think right now what you're really doing is you're just studying, you know, the opponent, what they do situationally, trying to get the guys prepared so they can put their best foot forward and play with good situational awareness. You know, whether that be, hey, what does this team do in short yardage? What do they do in a backed up situation? What are they in, you know, second and long? So that's really what we're spending the lion's share of the time on with our guys, just getting them ready for the joint and for the game.
BJ Green described him and Danny Strigow as the other guys in this defense. The quote is, there's Josh, Trayvon, and then we're the other guys. So have you heard them reference that before?
I haven't. That's the first time I've heard that. But no, I think everybody, those guys have really stepped up, and they have a huge role in our defense. They're two guys I love to coach, and they play the right way. You know what I mean? They're really steady guys and guys you can count on to do their job. So they've developed a lot of trust and love and appreciation on our side of the ball for the way that they play.
Can you see kind of the undrafted chip on their shoulders show up during these practices and in games?
Yeah, I think those two guys have always had that. I think we've had a couple guys who are like that. You know, we're UDFAs that we kept and played a bunch last year. You know, Branson's one of those guys too. We have guys who've stepped up in that role. So I think that's a good thing, you know what I mean? And one of the things that's great about playing for Liam, for these guys, is, you know, he don't care where you're drafted. He doesn't care when you got picked up, where you got picked up. The guys that are playing the best, the guys that do their job, the guys that play the toughest, they're going to play, you know, and whoever can help us win is going to get the op. And those guys have proven that, I think, even for some of the young guys that have come in this year.
Another guy that was in that UDFA class was Jabbar Muhammad. I know you talked about him in the spring, but what have you seen out of him over the last 2 weeks or so? Same
thing. I mean, I think he's got a good chip on his shoulder, too. He's really taken in all the teaching that Matt is bringing to him. There's some things that fundamentally I think he's really gotten better at, and that doesn't happen unless you're totally bought in and you're doing it every day. You know, it's a muscle memory game. And Jabbar, probably as much as anybody on our defense, has developed, you know, from where he was at this time last year in camp to where he is now. He's just done a lot of really good things. You know, he's been a good football player for us. So, to your point, another guy who's a UDFA, you know, who's shown up for us. I think Cam, one of our safeties, same deal, right? He's been a guy that's been really, really detailed in everything he's done, and he's been out there and played in games for us as well. So, that's been rewarded here, and I think that's a great thing. It speaks to that coach.
Jabbar had a rep. I don't remember exactly which day, but it was against Tanner Kozo, who is like 6'7", I think, or something like that. And he goes up and makes that PBU. Does that just kind of say where he will compete no matter who it is against?
Yeah, that's the competitiveness of the guy. You hope those situations show up in practice. You hope they show up in a game for guys, you know, where it's, we say this all the time, there's going to be 5, 6, 50-50 balls in a game, and one guy wins. You know, you got to beat the other guy. You go 5-0, 6-0 on those on defense, you're going to limit big plays, and you got a great shot to win the game. But that's what's got to happen. You know, you can't let the receiver make a play on the ball in the air, right? We're not trying to give up any yak, right? So if they get it, it's got to be expensive. They catch the ball, and obviously the ball can't go over our head. So those are really tenets and commandments for those guys in the pass game, and he's taking it to heart. He's a competitor when the ball's at the point of attack.
With the preseason approaching and the depth in your defensive room, what are the specific traits that you look for when deciding what goes into making the final cuts for that group?
Yeah, I mean, we love guys that are competitive first and foremost. You know what I mean? They're out there, they're competing. You know, job one is whoop the man, and that's their job, right? The guys that do that every play, guys that you can trust, guys that love to play football, right? So we're team first guys. That's really how you develop a culture on defense, you know, and I think we have a lot of guys that fit that mold here. At the end of preseason, we're going to have a tough deal because we're going to have to cut some guys we really, really like and some really good football players. And that's, you know, that's a good thing. That's a sign of having the right people in the building, but it doesn't make it any easier. You know, that's why these preseason games, guys are going to be going all out, and some of these joint practices, they're important for these guys, and we're trying to treat it that way.
Is there a benefit to a joint practice on the road over joint practice here? Is there anything more you get out of it on the road?
I think maybe just operationally, maybe guys get a little downtime to hang out together. There's not much, but even operationally going on the road as coaches, getting all that stuff situated and kind of getting through that, it's a good trial run for when you have these road games, and you just got to be prepared for that, and it gives you the op to do that.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
Into week 2 of camp, you guys have joint practice tomorrow. Just how has the start of camp been for you?
It's been really good, man. It's just awesome to come out here and be able to compete against our teammates and a defense like we have. We have a really good defense, so it feels like you're getting better every single day at something. And it's good to come out here and continue to build the chemistry with the guys as well. So super exciting stuff, and excited to be out here.
Do you feel older now? I mean, you're on your second contract. You have 2 young guys who were just drafted this year. Does it feel like you're older in this league?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, for sure. I feel like I'm just now, like, getting into my prime, for sure. But, yeah, I definitely feel older, different things pop up, or maybe the rookies will say something that I would have said last year, or being a rookie. So there are times, moments that they make you feel old, but, nah, I feel like I'm just going into my prime. I feel like I'm just getting started.
How are those 2 guys going to help you?
They're going to do great things, and they both have very unique skill sets, and I feel like they're both very talented players. Nate, he does a little bit of everything, and then you see Tanner out here making plays every single day in the passing game, and he's special that way, being able to, just go up top and get the ball. So both of those guys are super talented and special.
Do you see traits in Nate that remind you of you at all?
Yeah, for sure. Like, just that he wants to do everything and he wants to be involved in everything. And I think that's the most important thing, being a football player is, and then blocking especially, is just being willing to put your head in there. And he definitely has that. He doesn't have any fear, and that's very impressive because, it's a lot going on as a rookie. And these guys coming out here playing Josh Allen, Trayvon, it might startle some people, but, you can really tell who somebody is when he comes out here and does what he does.
You get a sense this offense is going to be even more explosive than it was last year.
Should be. I mean, that's the goal, So that's why we're out here every single day, and that's why we're coming out here and putting the work in. Just trying to fix things from last year and better improve on those things, and to continue what we're doing. So it should be for sure.
You and Antonio got here at the same time, kind of faced each other a ton in practice over the years. How have you kind of seen, iron sharpen iron between you two and your growth together?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I look forward the most to in practice every single day is one-on-ones with him, because not many guys play like him. Not many guys have the length that he does at his position. So I know every single time I'm going out there, I'm getting better. They saw they posted a little clip and everything, but I enjoy coming out here and competing against Antonio because I know I'm playing against one of the best.
Obviously, we always ask you about Parker because you guys came in together, went to Penn State together. Just what he's doing right now, how special is it to just see him finally get that spotlight in that stage?
I mean, I would say here for sure, spotlight and stage, but Parker's never changed. He's always been the same guy. The stuff I saw, just social media-wise, him coming in, working, and that's always been him. And he is the star player that he is because of the work that he puts in. So no surprise by me. I've been seeing it for the past however many years. But, yeah, it's just on this stage now, so nothing different for Doug.
I can't recall the exact time, but we've heard previously this offseason Liam saying with Tanner and Nate in the building, it opens up a larger receiving role for you. Have you felt that intention being put into use this offseason?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are some plays, I was just telling him over there are some plays last year that I wouldn't even have to pay attention to. Like, you hear your certain part of the play and it's like, all right, like I know what to do. But like now, like I have to pay attention to everything, like going on in the play call and even in meetings, just learning mostly a tight end is going to run some tight end concepts and there's going to be some receiver concepts, and just learning all the concepts and making sure I'm dialed in on those, because if it's 13 or maybe if it's even 11 and I'm in a different spot, you got to know what it is. So, yeah, definitely having to pay a little bit more detail and attention to things.
Nice. Liam pointed out you and Parker are the guys who Trevor's been with the longest out the pass catchers. Do you feel that chemistry that years and years have got to perform in it out here on the practice field now?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I feel like I can go up to Trevor with anything and, ask him the question, or just that I have his trust, That's the most important thing is, coming out here and earning your quarterback's trust every single day. So I feel like we have that, and I just love to continue to build upon that and to continue to get better, because we've done some great things, but you just only want to keep getting better every single year.
I assume the tougher the game, the more you like it. You like Chris Rodriguez along those lines?
I love Chris Rod. I love C Rod. He gonna get downhill and he gonna run somebody over, and you know, in those short yardage situations. Sometimes last year, not saying anything about anybody, but that's just the type of back we need. You need a back like that, and you need somebody that's gonna get downhill and get those dirty yards. It's all about the hidden yards. Can you get +2 on contact? You know, and C Rod does that. So he's a special guy, and I can't wait to see what he does this year for us.
How much does Liam preach that stuff about the extra yards and rushing yards over expectation? I bet he throws that out.
Yes.
So you guys a ton, right?
Yeah, situational masters, you know, team meeting, whatever it is. We always harp on those things, the details. That's what wins football games. So hidden yardage, whether that's in special teams or whether that's in offense, defense, whatever it is, you're always trying to fight for that, because you never know when it can come up, and that'd be the difference.
He said he was going to have you run some different routes, maybe in this camp, that you hadn't run before.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like that, and what was that like for you, and what were maybe some of the spots that you were in that you hadn't been in before?
I love it, man. You know, I always tell y'all I pride myself on being able to do anything. I played a lot of different positions growing up. I've done a lot of different things on the football field. I'm just a football player at the end of the day. Like, put me anywhere on the football field, I'm going to try to make it happen and do the best of my ability. But, you know, just probably more of 13 this year. Different routes and 11 personnel and things like that. Y'all see during the season. It'll be nice.
What do you think of all the hoopla outside of here but throughout the league about the emphasis on 13 personnel because of what the Rams did last year?
I think they did great things, you know. Obviously, we were in London and we played them in London, and sad to say for us, but they had a really good game, and they had some really good schemes and concepts, and it's just the ability to be big, and if they bring out base personnel being big, or maybe you want to, you know, get wide on them when you got 3 athletic guys that can stretch the field. So it just gives you the availability to do something, and something extra for the teams to game plan for.
Big picture, independent of the personnel usage, how did that Rams game affect the trajectory of the rest of the 2025 season and now the 2026 Jaguars?
I think, you know, that was our last game in London, right? I think it left a bad taste in our mouth coming back home, and you know, you want to come back and you want to give the city something to be proud of at the end of the day. You want to put your best product out there every single day. That's what we work for, and I think it just left a bad taste in our mouth, and a good start coming home.
The first of 3 different joint practices tomorrow. Just kind of what's your mindset going into it?
Just be me, you know. I want to play my best. I want to dominate, but just be me. There ain't nothing else to it ever, you know. Just play football. I've been playing football my whole entire life. Have fun with it and just be myself.
All right, thanks, bro.